How's it going, everyone? Ani-mity back at it again with another video, and today I got a little story for you guys. I know, still haven't gotten the Amazing Digital Circus video edited yet. It's been rough, guys. It's been actually really, really rough. The last couple of days, it is something that's been on the back burner for a while, and I do feel really bad that it's been on that back burner for a while. But I've also been really, really proud of, I guess, like something of a bit more personal growth that happened not that long ago. And I wanted to kind of make a little video talking about that today. So, for those of you who've been with the channel long enough now, you guys will know I've always had this struggle with, I guess, like my self image. I've always had this perception of myself that was never really positive. It was never something that I really like. It was hard to motivate myself to do things because of the fact that I am always going to be the one who's like, what's the point? It's going to backfire and it's going to fail like it always does. It's always a mentality. Like I defeat myself long before I even give myself the chance to actually try to do something. And that's been a story of my life. That's been the story of my life the entirety of my life. I've always felt like, I don't know when this exactly changed, but I think it was in middle school is the most prominent time where I felt it. It was like I went from I'm going to try everything, and if it doesn't work out, I just bounce the next thing, to no matter how hard I try, nothing ever works out the way that I planned for it to. And before, it didn't really bother me that it didn't work out the way I planned to, because I never planned it to work out in any way, shape, or form. And I guess like that lack of a plan bothered me a lot more when I got to middle school, because I felt like at that point I was supposed to have a plan. Like I was supposed to know where I was going, what I was supposed to be doing. Like all these like existential questions feel like they drop on you all at once when you get to middle school, and they shouldn't. I'm talking about this with one of my roommates not that long ago, and we're saying like life doesn't have a roadmap. There's no real like there's nothing that tells you how to be a perfect being. There's examples you can lead by. There's guidelines that sometimes work better for others than it does for most, but there's no set in stone methodology that works for everyone to be a successful functioning human being, whatever that even means, or just like to be happy in general is not something that there's necessarily a roadmap for. And that's something that I've always known, but I guess never really wrapped my head around, if that makes sense. So because of that, like I said, once I got to middle school, I started having these ideas like I needed to have a plan of where I was going. And every time I put myself towards something that I felt pushed me in the direction of that plan, it would always fail. And then I'd always feel like I'd feel less worthwhile as a person. I mean, no one wants to fail. No one wants to see the thing that they worked so hard to achieve not work out. And it's hard to tell someone like, yeah, that door may have closed, but another one's open. Like it's hard to see the glass as half full when you pour everything into doing this one thing and then watch it not really work out the way that you planned for it to. And that's something that I've kind of learned over and over and over again on this job, working here at the DCP. It's one of the greatest lessons that I can say I'm walking away from my time here in the program with. It's this realization that it's not just me. And I guess like and I mean that in a couple of ways. Of not only is it just like it's not just me who feels this like second guessing and this nature of my worth and this questioning of how I go about trying to fix my own mindset, but still realizing what my presence gives to a community, which is something that I've always undersold and undervalued in everything. Like it all throughout my time when I was in like high school, I actively avoided social situations because it was overwhelming for me being at my high school I just never really felt compelled to be a part of any of the cliques or any of the things that were social there. I did join some stuff here and there, but it just I was never something I was necessarily drawn to in the way that a lot of other people, I guess, are. Um, and just it became so hard for me to just talk to people and address the situation. I was always like, other people don't need this help, and somehow I always felt that, despite me trying my hardest to figure it out on my own, I was never able to get to the levels that other people were at. And despite the help that I did end up having, I still never really felt like I was there, and it just made this cycle in my head worse and worse and worse. But I'm realizing now, I guess, like, what that voice could have done then, and kind of what that's doing for me now. Um, as I've always said, like, I can't really say much about my experience with the job. It's the reason why I don't really do my vlog series anymore. It's because, good, bad, or otherwise, I can't really have an opinion on the job or express an opinion on my job in a way that is professional. I have drafts of videos of me talking about what it was like working here. And the issue with all those videos was how emotionally charged they all are. And it's like when you have a bad day on the job, you should not be like taking that out on the job itself. The thing that my dad always taught me was just that, like, you can control how you feel, and I've always been bad at having that control, but I do recognize when it is mostly a me thing, and it is mostly a, like, I need to be better at handling these situations deal. I recorded the videos. I have zero intention of ever posting them to any capacity, because it doesn't feel right or professional of me to do, especially with the fields that I would love to be able to go into. I mean, like, just from pure professionalism, it's not something that I want to really have be publicized. But with every workplace, there will be its quirks, is what I will say. Um, and regardless of, I guess, how you feel with it, don't ever feel afraid to express. Because that was the biggest mistake that I made in being here. Is I came in here with, again, that mentality that I'm not going to be good enough. I'm already falling behind the curve of everyone else. And on top of that, my position here is temporary. I got so used to this narrative of, even like, putting aside a lot of things I've heard people say, like, about this program and that kind of thing. I came into this program knowing I'm just a number, and that when my time comes up, when my program is over, that's it. That's all I'm going to be to this program, is just a number. And that never really bothered me in the moment, but it definitely did hurt me a lot more than I thought it would, and I thought it should have hurt me, if that makes sense. I've realized from talking with my coordinator and talking with a lot of people that it's not all quite the way that I thought it was. Like, it's the no one really put that expectation onto me when I came in here. I put that onto myself. And ultimately all I was doing was trying to keep myself from what I was always afraid of, which is that coming to grips with the fact that I am behind the curve. And instead what I could have been doing is help set the stage for other people. Because I'm not going to be the last one who comes in feeling this way. And it wasn't until I met someone who had my exact work ethic of, like, this job is our worth, and kind of like treating this job like it's this defining thing. And I can tell people easily that it isn't. It's something I believe in myself, and I'm sure for them they don't believe it when I say it, but it's it's hard to work over that mentality. And it was a moment of realizing that I really am not alone in the way I feel with how I go about my work and everything else. And that finally inspired me to reach out to my coordinators and say, hey, can I talk to you about how I felt about this? Like, can I talk to you guys about what my experience here has been like? And not to be like, here's everything I think you guys are doing terribly, or that kind of, no, like, just tell you guys, like, from my perspective, here is how I've been impacted by the way that you guys do things. It's not right, it's not wrong. It's just I receive the information differently from others. And I'm not going to be the only one they'll have like this. The mentality that I need to go in with, and the mentality I'm trying to encourage myself to have, and that I want to encourage others to have, and why I'm making this video, is to say, be a problem in the best of ways. Be something that challenges people to look at a situation from a whole different angle, and you'll enrich their lives in so many ways you couldn't fathom. Something I always appreciated. I had the one of like the biggest influences in my life was this tutor that I had. Her name's Lori Faber. Look her up. She's an amazing, amazing tutor. I loved every minute that I had under her tutelage. Um, but the thing that I appreciate about her, and that I later grew to appreciate in a lot of different mentor figures I'd had in my life, is being, I'm trying to like, bilingual, but not with just languages. She was capable of explaining topics in 50 different ways and able to go like down to the basest root of explaining something. Like, the issue that I always have with so many professors is that they can explain something at the upper levels, but then forget what it's like being at that beginning stage, or being at that earlier phase of trying to figure things out. And that made it harder for me to synthesize a lot of different information. But the thing with Lori, she could explain it 5 different ways a Sunday and never get frustrated with you if it's still not sitting with you. It's still not clicking with you. She'll work with you to find that other solution. And people like that are so valuable to have in the world. And I always thought that was just unique to Lori because of the fact that every professor I had after my time in middle school wasn't that. Almost. There were some people who were. I'm going to take that back. There were people that definitely were that, but not as many as I would have hoped. And coming into the world, I kind of went in with the blinders of that on, saying that everyone is going to be like that. Um, but I'm realizing now, instead of seeing yourself as a burden to people who can't explain at the basic levels, be the problem that gets them to look at things from a different perspective. Be the problem that they can't just solve with a one word answer. And if all they're capable of is a one word answer, keep pushing. Because of the fact that while a manager or a boss is not going to appreciate, someone who's second guessing and just being like aggressive and mean about doing the job, I guarantee you they will appreciate the fact that if you go in with thought and saying like, "Hey, nothing wrong with the way you're thinking, but here's a different way of looking at it, and here's a perspective that maybe you didn't consider before. Take it or leave it. Take what you like, throw out what you don't. I'm just spitballing. I'm just putting this out there. It'll change your world if you can bring that perspective to work." And that is the thing that I am gathering from my experience here in this program. I wanted to be able to share that little story here with you guys. So hopefully you guys got something out of it. Most of this was just me also just rambling a lot. So if you guys are sick and tired of that, let me know in the comments down below. But I'm really proud of myself, and I'm not usually proud of myself for a lot of different stuff. This is one thing I am very, very proud of. So I I hope I can continue in that growth.